Good morning, Westeros.
And welcome to our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice and Fire podcast. We are your Morning Throners, and we got John 10 on deck. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
This is one that I thought, you think it was going to start out one way for sure, and then it kind of takes a couple turns, which was kind of fun. But
yeah, do you like it overall? Were you satisfied?
It was cool, right? It had a bunch of kind of, like I said, revelations and twists in it for sure.
A lot of unexpected things.
We'll get into it, but yeah, exactly. It was kind of oh shit. But I'm a little unhappy that it kind of ruined. I felt like I could have guessed this one, but
it spoils it for you at the end. I know that last line. I was like, just take away those last two paragraphs, and it would have been a great question.
I feel like we were trying to feed this to you. Maybe last John or last Stannis, where's Stannis gonna go? Think about
it wasn't even Stannis. I think we were talking about Jaime, and they were at Stannis's island or whatever,
right.
At Storm's or Dragonstone rather, and nobody's there.
Yep.
Yeah, they brought that up last chapter because they were talking about mountain's hurt. We need to save the mountain so we can keep Dorne happy, because otherwise that might be where Stannis is, because we don't know where Stannis is. All we know is he's not at Dragonstone anymore. That was kind of that update. Yeah, the other cool thing about this that I'll say now, because I don't think we have to wait for the spoiler section, the past two John chapters, while they've been fighting against Mance, the Owen the Oath, who's one of the Night's Watchmen, has kept saying I had a dream that King Robert showed up. I saw his yellow banner, I saw his golden banners. It's Owen the Oath has been I guess dreaming about this potentially.
Okay.
Dream scene. Let me bring in what I learned new in this chapter for the first time.
So before you do that, give me a synopsis. We've been flirting around, but we haven't really said it. I do think it's good for people who haven't read.
John's getting sent out to kill Mance. He actually kind of treats with them more than they expected, and then war horns blowing, and Stannis attacks from all angles and fucks up the wildlings.
Chapter kind of ends in the middle of the battle.
Yeah.
So what'd you learn? What's new for Jeff?
So I can actually kind of bring it in, because John is heading down the wall in the winch on the wildling side. I didn't think they had a winch on that side.
It sounded like it might have been in the tunnel too. I don't know, because he had to go around the turtle.
I think he could see, and he could feel the wind. I think it was shaking.
Yeah, I think Jeff's right. I didn't take it as two winches. I took it as the normal winch is a crane, and they just turn the crane to the other side. But yeah, 100% agree. This one, I did 3 double takes. I'm because he's definitely in the winch to start.
Yeah, I thought he was heading up the wall at first. My note says John heads up the wall, pondering his imminent death. That's my first note. And then it's oh wait, he's going down. Oh wait, he's on the north side of the wall. Where is this winch?
But it talks about lowering him into a pit, though. That's why I thought maybe it's internal.
He gets lowered into all of the mess of them dropping pitch and stuff. He mentions that the gate is right there to his right
when he lands.
That he didn't walk through the tunnel like he would have had to if he was on the south side of the wall.
Yeah, I 100% agree though. I was confused. I did a couple double takes in this one. Just wait, he's in the winch. And then it does one of those things too where okay, John's in the winch, but for 2 pages we're going to think back a couple days to when they pulled him out of the winch.
How did I get here?
When they pulled him out of the ice cells, and now he's back into the winch. And I'm wait, are we still on the north side? Are we on the south side? What side are we on? Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing. But yeah, that was kind of the conclusion I came to, is that thing's on some type of lever.
And I guess I kind of had the show winch in my mind where it's a little bit more elevator. Stable. Yeah, more of an elevator. Not just kind of a cage on a chain,
rope.
But
yeah, that's definitely the vibe you get here, because he's you said, he's swinging this thing. It's back and forth, rocking along the ice. He's he's scared, right? This would not be an easy ride.
Fun trip. Yeah, but so he's I said, he's thinking about his imminent death, right? He's talking about shadows and how shadows are falling, and the shadow of his life is he's about to be shadowed forever, and then he thinks back on how he tried to live his life with being a bastard.
He was born in a shadow, pretty much, right?
Yep.
That's kind of...
Bastards are known as treacherous and wanton, and he always wanted to prove that wrong.
Yeah, trying to spend his whole life trying to do the opposite, and here he is about to die as a traitor, essentially, or known as a traitor at least.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a few characters towards the end of Storm of Swords who have thought about this. I think one of the other ones was like Tyrion. He's like, really? Like, everything I've done.
Saved the city.
I saved the city.
And they're like laughing at me.
Exactly. And if I get remembered as anything, if I go down in the history books, it's going to be as the guy who killed his nephew and the king. Right. And we kind of mentioned it too a little bit last Jamie chapter where he puts Zolo the Fat. Yeah, I don't think this was intended, but we kind of joked about it. Like Zolo the Fat will be remembered. Like the only time his name's probably ever going to be in a history book is as the Fat. Like could have just put Zolo. So it's like kind of, I feel like, I don't think that's intended to be it, but I feel like there's kind of a theme that's been brought up a few times with like, how am I going to be remembered?
But Jamie wrote all that stuff down, right? Like I like how you picked one thing about Zolo, but here's Jamie writing in the book about how he failed all these times and all that stuff. That was, I think,
that's the other real, the other real example. Yeah, that's gonna live on forever. Jamie is saying this is I've done shit, but then that kind of is the flip side too. He's like, yes, I started off, but and then my favorite part, right? The rest is for him to choose whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here he thinks like Robb died a hero. I'm gonna die the Turncloak.
Turncloak, Oathbreaker.
Ygritte died a hero, right? Like she got to die in battle.
Yeah. Well, and first he's like, I should just stayed in that cave with her. Like we should have. Yeah. Shouldn't even have left. I should have just been running around the hot springs chasing Ygritte.
And the mole man or whatever's down there, right? No,
the what?
There's something in that cave. They said
Grendel and Gorn, the children. Yeah. So these two, we hear about these two later on. Two of the King Beyond the Walls from way back in history. They had, I think it was Grendel's children. They had found a way under the wall through caves and tunnels and stuff, but they got lost. Some of his children got lost on the way back or something like that, so they're stuck down in the caves forever. The mole man. Yep. Yeah. So in the chapter, this is where we flash back to Jon getting taken out. Where has Jon been being stored? I got a math problem. Chapter math's not mathing in this chapter for this. So where's Jon?
Mathing. I think I can kind of see what you're saying.
Let's see if Jeff can guess it.
Well, he's in the ice cell, which is a 5x5 box.
He's like in the fridge,
5 by 5. Yes.
And he can't. Freezer. He's saying he can't do anything comfortably. Stand,
he can't lay down.
Or, like you can easily. Like what is Jon?
5 by 5. It's easy. Pythagorean's theorem, right? Just take two angles, two of those sides, and then connect them. That's the diagonal. That's where Jon would be sleeping along the diagonal. That's the hypotenuse. Right. A squared, B squared. A squared, 5 squared, 25, 25, 50. Square root of 50. It's over 7 feet. Diagonal's over 7 feet. Jon can definitely lay down in this thing.
Well, even like if you didn't need to find the diagonal, like just curl your legs up a little bit. Like go a little
fetal position.
Like you can make up like Jon. I don't know. Kit Harington's like 5'8", right? Like I don't know what Jon is. He's still kind of young.
Way shorter. Kit Harington's like 30. Jon in the books is like 15, so he's way smaller than that.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a tall 15-year-old, but I don't think they ever sit. Like I forget what his stature is. I don't think he's very big either way. Like maybe he's 5'6", 7'8". Like you could bend your knees a little bit and sleep comfortably. I'd do it with all the room in the world on my bed. Like it's just how I sleep. So like figure it out.
It's a choice.
To be fair though, the size of the cell isn't the bad part.
No, it's just freezing. Like
like I said, he's in the freezer. They just we have this empty space from we ate all the food and then all the rations are upstairs or whatever, and then throw them in.
And they just put him in like, we hope you die. Like we hope we don't see you next time. Like we hope you're dead in here. That's kind of wild.
Exactly. Like they can't. So he kind of explains it. Aemon has been pulling for him. So they can't just outright kill him because Aemon's like, no, he's not a Turncloak. I believe him. Like you can't kill him.
Yeah. And he wrote a letter to the higher up too.
Exactly. So they're trying to like kill him.
Cotter Pike,
as a way is like, oh, it was an accident, or like, oh, it's just like how it happened. Like, oh, he was in the cells and just like passed away.
It's just where we just had to store him there.
Oh, his meeting with Mance just didn't go well, right? Like that's even what sending him to Mance is about. It's like this is how we're gonna kill him without killing him. Yeah. So
either he's gonna kill Mance and die, or Mance is gonna kill him and he'll die. Yeah, he was gonna die.
Yep. So they bring him out of the ice cell, and he's meeting again with Janos Slynt and Alistair.
Yeah.
And they're like, Mance wants to parlay. And Jon's like, no, you don't want to send me.
Yeah, he's like, he's going to trust you, is what he said, pretty much, right? Like, he's like, he knows you. You have,
he
have
knows
a connection to
you. And Jon knows that's bullshit. And Jon knows that they know it's bullshit. They know what's exactly. They know exactly.
But it was kind of opposite. Spoiler.
It was a setup.
It was a setup. Definitely a trap. He mentions like Alistair set a trap for him. Like I'm either gonna die after I kill Mance, or Mance is gonna kill me for even being in front of him. But it didn't happen that way. Surprisingly, I think to John, like they were cordial.
Oh yeah,
for enough time, right? Like I don't think Mance obviously threatened him
when he was like telling him his plans. He was gonna send him back for sure. Like that was the whole idea.
I think it's a little unrealistic. I think they would have been a little more upset seeing John walk across that field.
Well, Tormund was pumped.
Tormund didn't give a fuck. Mance,
he's like, my man.
The thing about Mance is Mance seems not surprised. Like he's like, I never trusted you.
This is like, and I think there's a little bit of like, oddly, there's a little bit of gentlemanship in there. Like this is kind of like old school war. Like if you ever watch like a Revolutionary War and it's like two commanders meeting up and they're like, oh yeah, that was a great battle plan by you. Like awesome job. Like they're playing chess and not like
people's lives,
wasting, killing, getting people killed. So Mance is like, I have all of my pieces still on the board. You're down to like the castle and the knight, and you're screwed. Like I'm gonna win. So
that's true. It's not like the betrayal really mattered that much.
Yeah, like okay, Ygritte died. Sorry, like that's
sucks
she was
more
a
for
warrior.
you than me.
Right, right, yeah. So,
the one thing I will say, because again, Aemon's vouching for him, and they're kind of like Aemon's my boy, and they're talking shit on my boy, and John doesn't speak up for him because he knows this is not the setting to be talking back.
Well, yeah, he's already a public enemy #1. He's not. His word doesn't mean much.
Yeah, but they do say he's just an old man. One of them says, either Jana says he's just an old man with a chain around his neck, and John thinks he's a king's son, a king's brother, and a king who might have been. But he stays silent. Just Aemon's that guy.
Yeah,
put some respect on his name.
He seems all right for sure. I mean, we don't really know Aemon too well, but he's
just like the old wise man.
Yeah, he's one of the better.
I mean, if he was
maesters, right?
Yeah, and he's blind. I think that takes a lot out of him. Like I feel like this time period, like once you lose something like that, they're like, well, put him out to pasture. Like he's done.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it. They were talking about killing Bran because he's crippled. They definitely would have thought about doing that with him if he was younger. Maybe.
Thankfully, he's at a spot nobody else wants, so it's not like there's anybody trying to get him out of the way.
And he's still proving his worth. Like he's still dropping knowledge bombs on cats. Sure. Like you better be listening. Yeah. So
basically, they trick him. Like, oh, if you're too pussy, then we'll put you back in the ice cell with no blankets.
They don't trick him. He's trapped. He sees this whole thing.
It's a catch-22.
Sure. He's just like, I'm fucked. I am not in any position to deal with this. Like, I can't say no because then I'll be the coward in Turncloak. I can't say yes because then I'll be dead.
Yeah.
So guess I got to be dead.
So
honor.
Guess I'm saying yes.
Yeah.
And the threat was to throw him back in the ice cell with no furs. Which was like
death.
How would you rather die? Like probably like freeze to death or like just have your head cut off. I don't know.
All right, Jeff, what's the movie we always relate to?
Fucking Batman. You
big idiots. Batman relation here. When the Scarecrow is the judge, he's like, what are the choices? Death or exile? He's like,
all right,
if you think we're going out on that ice, we're crazy. All right, death by exile. It's literally what they do to John here. Like, all right, see ya. We can't kill you because of Aemon, so go talk to Mance, who hates you.
Yeah, go die over there. Yeah. Where it's not our problem.
That wasn't the part that I thought Jeff was going to like. The part I thought Jeff was going to like is Janice comes at John again. He's like, did you not call me my lord? You just talk back to me.
Yes, I have this in my note. I have a specific
He
deal.
says my lord to him like 12 times.
Jeff's first ever quote he wants to read?
No.
When John's being sarcastic to Janice?
It was just a comment, but I guess I will read it.
Okay. One day Jeff will have a quote.
All right. So my point is actually before John gets snarky with him.
Okay.
Janos, it begins with Janos right before. My lord, Janos Slint reminded him, you'll address me, I'll go, my lord. But you are making a mistake, my lord. You are sending the wrong man, my lord. Just the sight of me is going to anger Mance. My lord would have a better chance of reaching terms if he sent terms, like, we're not sending you terms, we're telling you to either kill him and die or just you die. Like, get away. My note is, Janos says, my lord, like a low person.
This is a show-only thing, but I don't think it really matters. There's a part where when Arya is undercover in Harrenhal.
It's a Tywin deal, right?
Yeah, so this is also not in the show, but I think we're kind of passing enough that it's okay. Like, she is more closely... She's like the cupbearer to Tywin instead of the cupbearer to Roose when she's at Harrenhal in the show. Makes sense. You want to put main characters with each other. But there's a part where she says, my lord, to Tywin, and Tywin's like, if you're going to pretend to be lowborn, you should say, my lord. Like you have mud in your mouth. And which I noticed it too. Janos says M apostrophe Lord. But every time John says it back to him, he says my space Lord. So kind of interesting. Like George must have mentioned that to the showrunners that like even in the like it's never mentioned in the books that it's a highborn versus lowborn thing. But it's a thing he's clearly doing on purpose, right? So I thought that was cool too.
That's what I took from it. It was like, oh, you want to be the Lord, but you can't even pronounce it like a Lord. You're pronouncing
the guy
it
you're
like,
telling you to call you Lord is actually saying it right, and you're saying it the peasant
and you
way.
look like a
frog,
jolly old fella up top there.
Yeah,
Game of Thrones adjective.
Jolly. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
so again, I thought it was funny when John was being snarky. I was like, this is what Jeff would do because the whole he hates the whole Lord on the wall thing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It's still the stupidest thing ever, and I'll just leave it at that.
We got into it last time, so go listen to the last John episode if you want to hear us argue about it.
So yeah, we're sending you there to like you're on a suicide mission.
You're the dagger, right? Like you're the poison dagger, essentially.
Yeah. Like terms.
Like you're going out for terms, exactly, but you have to betray him.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too, and I wonder if it like you thought about it, Kyle, because the horn, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit, and we can wait to talk about most of it, but like the horn changes things, because as soon as John sees that, there's a line in here where he realizes like, fuck, I can't just kill Mance anymore. That won't do shit. Like if I kill Mance, they'll just blow the horn anyway. Yeah. And he's like thinking about destroying the horn instead of trying to kill Mance.
Yeah.
Like
which would be more of a suicide mission, right?
More of a suicide, well, theoretically equally of a, like he's dead either way, right? But he's like, this is more important now.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say too is that like Janos and Alistair were like, we would never ever do any terms with this person,
which is so funny, right? Yeah, like they're like, we're too honorable to hang you, but we're too honorable to
treat with this savage king.
They say they're too honorable to be friends with these savages or whatever, right? Like to listen to these savages.
That has to just be bullshit to John, though. Like as soon as John's dead, they're going to send someone out and actually do terms, right? They're just saying there's nothing that we'll accept so that John doesn't have any option but to kill Mance. Because it like you have to accept terms. It's like 20 versus 10,000. What are we talking about? Of course you're going to accept terms. All right, back to now. John's done thinking about. He's back to the riding down to the cage. He's thinking about Corin a little bit. He's trying to convince himself, like, you know what, suicide for the Night's Watch, it ain't that bad. It's what kind of Corin's whole deal was. That's what we signed up for. We signed up to give our lives for the Watch.
Yeah, your life is for the Wall. As long as the Wall and the brothers still stand because of actions you've taken, you did good. Yep.
Interesting point. Then there's some ravens on some. He's like walking through the bodies and stuff.
I was to say he runs into old Mormont's
raven.
One raven.
Right? It's not. This is his. Yeah, he knows this raven. Just talking to him.
Didn't Sam taught a couple ravens, not all to talk, but all to say snow? So like snow is the one word that like more than one. I think there is more than one raven that knows how to say snow.
I think you are right there.
But yeah, I'd still either way interesting. Because I think it's definitely meant to think.
But to say it and to recognize John, I think is maybe a little bit different, right?
Yeah, like, exactly.
If every other Raven's just going snow to anything, and then we know this guy, this one Raven has known John.
Well, I think it's kind of like a Mormont's here with you kind of moment, right? Like I think.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be there for no reason, right? So I think it's there to perk your eyes up, but definitely about Mormont's Raven. I just wanted to point out that technically there are other Ravens that know how to say snow. But yeah, 100%. I think that's why it's there in the book.
Yep. So as he starts walking across the wasteland, Tormund spots him and starts riding out to greet him. And I like this part. I like Tormund. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, Tormund's awesome.
Just a lively character with personality.
He's just amped,
Yeah.
Great one-liners.
And it's like he's almost like he's playing a game too. He's just like, oh, this is a game of life. Like, well, you guys won a couple of those levels, but like, I'm still having fun doing my part. Like he doesn't give a fuck about anything, you know, like
totally unbothered,
living it up.
Interesting thing about Tormund, we don't learn it here, but we learn a little later when Mance is talking about kind of like how he took over. He's like, basically there was 5 people or 6 people, including Mance, I guess, that all wanted to be king, and he killed all of them except for Tormund and Styr because they agreed to join him and the other ones didn't. But like, kind of interesting, I guess, when Mance decides to leave the Night's Watch and join the Wildlings, Tormund was like campaigning to be king beyond the wall.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of a big reputation too. So I feel like it's just the guys with the biggest reputation that want to fight. And
how old is Mance?
45.
I know that.
Okay.
55.
I think he's younger than that. I think we do know when he's younger.
Really?
That's close. I think he's way younger than he looks in the
I don't know. It just feels like
he's
been out here being king of the wildlings for like 30, 40 years to me. But it's like that can't be true. Once you said like, oh, when he left the Night's Watch, I'm like, yeah, that can't be true, right? Like, even if he was like 12, 16 when he deserted.
My thought was he was older than Benjen. So like I'm trying to like eyeball where like Benjen would be like 30-ish. No. And
okay.
I'm just
That's
saying
fair.
what I feel like Manson. But again, I have like show character maybe skewing that a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
I know what you're saying. Actor age kind of thing. Yeah.
But which that dude definitely is like 50 something.
Yeah. I for some reason I always kind of considered him contemporary with like Ned. So like same age as like Ned would have been. But I just looked it up. Even the wiki doesn't have an age. So I think it's probably completely up for debate.
Let's just say around 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, it just feels like he should have been out here forever. But now, like I said, when Nelson was mentioned when he was Night's Watch or whatever, like he has to be kind of fresh out here, and he's still leading this massive adventure. What do you want to call it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I have nothing to back this up. I would say after all the work of like banding everybody together, I'm gonna say he's been there for about 10 years.
He has white hair.
I'm giving him a decade in the north above the wall. Nels, what would you say?
It didn't take him long for him to do a lot, right? Like, I mean, I understand there's like an external enemy here that unites everybody, but like the giants, all the wildlings, like everybody, like for him to kind of pull that off, it's really impressive, I guess, what I'm getting at. So
that's fair. I didn't think about that. Just like collecting everybody together would have taken a while. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it says he has white hair, if my notes are correct. So that assumes age, right? Not many people have white hair that aren't, unless we're going, is he like a secret Targaryen? But I'm sure there's a theory for it, but I don't know if I've even heard that one. So
you heard it here first. That's what's going to get our podcast.
Oh, there are theories that Mance is somebody else. I mean, there are theories that anybody is anybody else, but I think Mance is one that people like to speculate on some things. I'll leave it there.
And Kyle, you don't want the tip of that iceberg, because I've been dealing with that. I've been dealing with that for 5 years, and
I will when we're done. I mean, maybe we talk about it later
for sure. That'll definitely be in a little recap telling Kyle. There is a person on YouTube, Bookborn. I'm sure anybody who listens to this podcast realizes there's a person on YouTube, Bookborn, who's like a big book YouTuber who just read all these books for the first time, and she did like a video where she had like two of her friends who knew a ton of the crazy theories just like give them to her, and she's basically just like, you guys have had too long, like you just need another book. That was kind of like her answer. It's like none of this would have ever happened.
You're picking this too far apart.
If Winds of Winter came out 2 years later. Yeah, exactly.
So let's get back to the convo. So Tormund and Jon are just kind of sharing like their point of view from the battles, and Tormund's like, man, we really thought Styr was just gonna get us, let us walk through, but man, we had to fight, and then we, even Mag the Mighty went through, and he didn't come back out. So wonder what happened there.
Right before he mentions Mag, we get the number of, we pretty much get the total casualties.
200 dozen giants.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about?
I don't think that's accurate.
You think Tormund's lying? I mean, they only have like 14 guys at the top of the wall throwing rocks off, so it might be accurate, but like...
Yeah, but people were like on fire and running around, and like they had to be hitting enough stuff with some arrows. Like they're hitting people with arrows. Like,
is the 200 just this wall fight, or does
side.
it include the Thens? Because like I said, I think that would be over 200 for sure.
I think that was just like 50 though, right? I think we knew
yeah,
that was
plus whatever happened on this side is what I'm getting at.
I would have said
200.
like with the multiple nights of just like shooting at people. Like,
I don't know, man. They're like out of range. There's like 15 dudes with bows and arrows up there. It's really not that many. Like it's not like they're raining fire.
But there's 100,000 of targets, and I know they didn't send them all through. But like
either way, I don't think it's that important. It's still an insignificant amount.
Not important. Good point by Jeff, though. I never really thought about that it could be a lie. I kind of like just thought what Kyle was thinking was like, it just shows like Jon has been waking up at the butt crack of dawn, like working his ass off, and he's done nothing, right? Like they have thousands. We've done 200.
Well, they saved the tunnel. That's the biggest thing.
Sure, but like it's a dent. That's what it's like. I think that's what Jon's realizing. Like, we've done nothing. Raindrop in the ocean.
But I don't think they could have done anything versus dropping Oppenheimer's bomb on them to like do anything to the numbers. Like they just weren't prepared. So
sure.
Yeah. So they toast to Mag and Donald, and they share a couple drinks, and then they talk
because he's
Egret.
like, oh yeah, man, Mag said he was going in the hole. He was going to clear it out for us. He's like, oh, you should have seen that. He got fucked up by a dude, my man Donald Noy, pretty much. He actually, John seems much more somber about this, right? He's like,
yeah. We lost a good one.
Some fancy lord and shiny knight, and he was a one-armed blacksmith. And he's like, and Tormund's like, damn, that must have been a sight. Mag the Mighty and a one-armed blacksmith. And John's like, yeah, pretty badass.
Yeah,
pretty badass for Donald. I don't know about Mag the Mighty.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of a
Mag
sad
the Mighty
story.
probably couldn't even fit in the tunnel.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mag was like in there, like arms stretched out above his head, like just head like on his belly.
He's more uncomfortable than John in the ice cell.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely can't sleep there.
Yeah. So we talk of Egret, and he's like, "Oh, yep, she's dead. Damn, that sucks. Did you kill her? Nope. Don't even know who. Don't want to know either."
Yep. Part of this, when they're swigging, John's saying whiskey feels good. Like, it's good to have a little whiskey in him. Or whatever they're drinking. Some nasty goat's milk, not whiskey, right? It's what we
always needs to warm up your... You need to warm up your chest a little bit. Mead. This is like... It's like tailgating at a playoff game in December or January.
Exactly, because John's been in the ice cells. He says that. Like, I've been so cold, like, this is getting the... And I was explaining that to somebody at work today. Somebody was asking me why Beethoven's wear barrels on their neck. Or not Beethoven's. Fucking Beethoven's. St. Bernard's. Beethoven's the famous St. Bernard. But I mean,
I'm glad you're old enough to know that, actually.
But
I feel like that's before you. That's a 90s movie.
Right around our time.
I grew up with a St. Bernard too, so maybe I'm biased. But
I don't understand what you mean. Like, what is it?
Do you know why, Kyle? You've seen a picture of like a St. Bernard dog with a little mini barrel?
I mean, so I'm an Avalanche fan. That's their mascot.
Oh, really? Well, their mascot's
Bernie.
Okay. Well, explain it while I go get a beer.
The St. Bernard, yeah, and it's because they're famously like trained to be Avalanche rescue dogs, and they'd carry around the whiskey barrel. I don't know if so that's kind of like a disputed point. I think.
Does it actually help with like someone going through hypothermia? It's like give them a shot of whiskey.
It definitely makes you feel better, right? Yeah. But I don't know that it actually helps your state, right? I think a blanket would probably be better,
or a fire starter with some Kindle.
Yeah, I think what's happening is like when you're really cold, your body stops circulating to your fingers. It's just a natural response to keep.
Well, it starts core. Yeah, it sucks to the core.
Yeah, to keep your internal organs warmer. So to Kyle's point, with like alcohol is bad because it basically turns that off. That's why like when you're drinking in the cold, it makes your hands feel warmer, but it makes you more susceptible to actually dying in the cold because it's not keeping your internal organs better. But
I think the idea there is that the dog found you, so somebody else would be there and they'd be pulling you out.
Well, exactly. Like you're cold to the point where you can't even use your limbs. Let's drink enough whiskey that you can get yourself up and out to a blanket. Yeah, I don't think it's like a long-term solution. It's like, let's get you moving is the idea.
That's an old thing too, right? Like it's pre-science,
I don't know.
I think.
No idea if
that's where it came from.
But that's why St. Bernards always have the barrel. Yeah.
I did not know that. Something else I learned today.
Yeah, bringing it back. That's why John likes the mead here, because it's making him... He's the avalanche victim from the ice cells. Yeah, respect for Egret. I don't know if it was here earlier, but she had the good death. John's like talking to her in his head. Like this was a quote that she said, and you know me, I'm crazy. I looked it up. I'm like, when did she say this? She never said it. He's just like making up lines for Egret in his own head now. The whole like it's a warrior's death is what you want. Not it's the how, not the when or whatever. She never said that. That's John just making it up.
They talked to each other before outside of the book, Nelson. We didn't read every conversation.
This was their pillow talk.
Fair. Okay.
They were sharing skins for multiple months. They were having a lot of pillow talk.
Sharing sheepskins.
That's what I said.
I mean, that's what they used to make condoms out of, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no, sheep intestines. I think is what they used to make condoms out of.
Wouldn't know. I don't know the history.
I think it was some type of intestine. It was like sausages, basically.
That's how Nelson's still making them.
Moving on.
How we got on the Egret topic too is that he's been he's limping it because he's walking next to, and he got shot with Egret. I think it was Egret's arrow. So like, what a great woman! Like I wish I could have taken her if I was younger.
Yeah. Tormund with the horror.
I mean, John's kind of like, yeah, man, like for sure, right? Yeah. John's definitely team Egret still.
Yeah,
Egret.
Yeah. So
we'll talk about Longspear. Interesting. I thought Longspear was with them. I thought Longspear like would have died in the steer attack because I thought like he was with them on the south of the wall, but I guess he was just like they're like him and Egert's buddy before they crossed. Because sounds like he's chilling with
separate
Tormund.
ways. Maybe he wasn't on the climbing. He must not have been on the climbing expedition.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's he been doing while Jon's been on the wall?
Well, he stole Tormund's daughter.
Yeah, Tormund's happy about it.
Munda.
It's like, yeah, my daughter got stolen and raped by this guy. Again, it's their custom, so but he's happy about it.
So she.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, they are. It's their ways, right? They're accepting of their customs. So, like, if you're man enough to steal my daughter, then you're man enough to be her husband. Which, at the end of the day, I would assume any dad just wants somebody worth it to marry their daughter, right? So Longspear, yep. And then he doesn't carry around a spear. So how do you get that nickname?
Yeah, that's why she's happy about it. And Egret did explain like kind of the technicalities of the woman's side of this before. Like she said, the way she put it is you can own a woman or you can own a knife or something like that, and basically saying like she'll just kill you in your sleep. Like if you're bad to her, she'll just take care of it. There's no laws, so fuck you.
She has some say. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. You got to sleep sometime. A little antifreeze in the morning coffee.
Yep,
I think you need a lot.
So I think this is the first time we hear about any of Tormund's children by name. Sounds like he's got quite a few.
5 of them.
He's got a gang.
At least, yeah.
So Munda is the daughter. Then we got Toreg. And we hear these guys because he's telling them like how they reacted during the stealing. Toreg just slept through his sister getting stolen. And Torwind, who's called Torwind the Tame, he says that says it all, so didn't do anything. And he says the younger ones put up a fight. So these are like the 2 older brothers. One just sleeps through it, the other one's like, whatever. Let him take her.
And Munda fucked him up a little bit too, right?
Well, he says he had a bunch of scratches on his back.
I thought she like bit his ear or something. I get what you're saying though. I get what
maybe she bit his ear and scratched him on the back.
She broke his lip, bit half his ear off, and he has so many scratches on his back that even he can't wear the cloak. But then that's where we get into the why he has the name Longspear. So we don't know where the scratches are from. Yeah,
or at what point in their relationship.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's walking through the camps now. Same kind of disheveled setup of the wildlings. They're just kind of people all over the place, and some people care about him, some people don't give a fuck.
I mean, it's kind of more foreshadowing, right? Because Jon's like, man, this place is ripe for an attack. Like over and over again. Like he's like, these people are just fucking goofy clowns. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're like, look at them trying to form up. They can barely, it's like
they don't have a clue.
Some ladies in dog carts and stuff.
I think there is one little plot hole in this chapter though. And maybe a big plot hole. We'll see what you guys think when we get to it. We're close to it, right? So I'll wait for a sec. So when we get there, he gets to Mance's tent. It's Mance outside.
There.
Harma and Varamir.
Which, he had a strange storyline this chapter.
Yeah,
I liked learning a little bit more about him.
Yeah, but this leads kind of into my plot hole. I feel like, right? So basically, what Varamir starts to say is like, "Hey, I hate you now, Jon. Pretty much. Like I always knew you were bad, but." Since we last saw each other, I've taken over the
especially
eagle.
Hate you because of Orell.
Yeah, Orell and I are one now.
But they're not 1 for 1, right? Like they're not sharing. Like it seems like Varamir still has control over the mind, but like it's kind of like I take it as like Voldemort being on the back of Quirrell. Like you just kind of it's like hearing the back of your head all day. Like dude, shut the fuck up.
Like Hellblade. It's like somebody's just whispering in her ear. Do this. I hate him. It's like Senua.
That'd be enough to drive anybody crazy. So
I do want to read the quotes for the magic stuff just because like I like to just get it out there so that our speculation doesn't influence anyone who didn't read it, right? So the quote is, Orell was withering, and this is what Varamir says. Orell was withering inside his feathers, so I took the eagle for my own. But the joining works both ways, Warg. Orell lives inside me now, whispering how much he hates you. And I can soar above the wall and see with eagle eyes. So he has an eagle now. Weird, because they call him Varamir 6 skins. So, like, do they have to change that to Varamir 7 skins? Also, we've already made a joke about this, but, like, at one point, was he Varamir 4 skins?
I know. I wasn't there for that joke, probably. Cause...
You were. I think it became a YouTube short. It's one of our few YouTube shorts. It's Varamir 4 skins. Is a missed opportunity by George. But, like, is he Varamir 7 skins now?
He couldn't wait to become the fifth skin. He was just getting made fun of.
But I mean, so we haven't seen six skins at this point either. So maybe it's not six skins anymore.
Well, it's maybe, like what, Shadowcat and a couple wolves.
2 wolves is Shadowcat, and then
he rides
I feel like
on
there
a
might
bear.
be more wolves.
Yeah,
I think there's 3 wolves. So maybe Six Skins is after the eagle. Maybe he wasn't ever called Six Skins before, but now he's Six Skins. Maybe he was 5 skins.
I feel like he was always 6 skins. What I'm saying is that maybe like it doesn't update as quickly as you think. No, I'm just saying maybe it doesn't update as quickly as you think. Maybe like when he got named, it was 6 skins, and then shit's died.
He actually has like 30 now.
Whatever. Yeah, or maybe he's down to 3, or 4, or whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? We haven't seen all 6. Is what I'm getting at.
So here's the plot point. The plot point is the very last line of that quote. And I can soar above the wall and see with eagle eyes. We have a great scout. How did we get snuck? We literally just got snuck up on. Like that's how the chapter ends. Shoot by an army, not like 5 guys. Like,
well, yeah,
he does see him.
Well, he sees him, but not until it's too late. Like he should have told them a week ago.
He just didn't have a big enough perimeter.
Well, he wasn't watching that way, probably.
Is the eagle literally just doing circles above Castle Black?
That's what it sounds like. I mean,
we're not sending him a little to the east, a little to the west.
Must not be. I don't know. I mean, that's how I'm filling your plot hole. Is that they're not actually.
Well, that was what I thought was the plot hole. Is we have an eagle and a guy inside an eagle. Seems like we would see an army coming, but
fair enough.
I also don't think that they don't expect anyone from Shadow Tower or Eastwatch because they don't have any numbers. Like, what are they going to do? Like, they can't come see us. Like, it'd be stupid for them. So,
yeah, they were just keeping an eye on Castle Black, that immediate threat.
I think it's a very fair point. And the other counterpoint to my own argument is if they do have thousands, like tens of thousands of wildlings, like they're either going to be very deep into the woods or very wide. Like they're getting to the wall. I'm guessing a lot of the wildlings want to be like on the tree line looking at the wall. So they're probably like their camp is probably very, very wide. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So maybe that's why
they're like, the outsiders are going to, ring a horn, which probably is what happens.
And John says it's very, very faint. Like when he hears it, it's very, very faint.
Yeah.
The horn. So it's probably from very far away. So yeah. Again, doesn't really matter. They're kind of a plot. I thought a little plot hole.
All right. So Mance is there. Harmon and Varamir are like, fuck John. Like, let's kill him. Tormund's like, yo, we're not touching him right now. Like, kind of like has his back. They call him Tormund the Crow Lover. And then Mance kind of is like, I never trusted you anyway. So like, fuck you.
Yep. They go inside. Val inside.
Yeah, she's going through it. She's it's close. The birth is close. So they get to stay privy to the conversation.
It's like now, right? It's like practically like you can tell it's imminent.
She's in labor. It's not, I mean, she's in labor.
It starts happening by the I actually wanted to ask you this, Jeff. Like what how do they describe her here? She's like sweating and like is she in labor when he goes in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Val comes out later and yells, right? Like the birth is happening.
I mean, she's definitely like going through contractions and like
they just didn't know. They just didn't have terms for it back then.
I don't know. The midwife isn't there, so.
But once water comes out, don't you know? Like, I mean, I know it's
game
not water,
time,
but the water breaks, right? Isn't that the signal? Isn't there like a big signal, or is that not as big of a thing as it's made out?
I mean, it doesn't happen. I don't think as often as you would think.
I mean, when have you ever been anywhere else and seen that happen?
No. I just mean like, do some women start going into labor without like a large discharge?
Yeah. Sometimes. Well,
that was a pretty PC way to say that. Chill out.
That was way too scientific. And this is why is this our podcast now?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, ask her.
Danny. Nelson wants you to explain how every woman knows it's time to give birth.
It's not quite what I said.
I don't know. I got induced.
It's not quite what I said. I said like, do all women like when a water breaks?
Can you both stop talking at the same time? What?
That's literally the entire podcast. But when pregnancy starts, like, do some women like when they have their water break? What does that mean? Like, I'm guessing like a bottle of water's coming out. Do some women have nothing? Everyone has like a lot of discharge.
No.
Like in the Middle Ages, would it be very obvious that labor has started? To me, it's like, oh, a fucking bottle of water came out. Clearly, a baby's about to come. But
yeah, but not everybody's water not everybody's water breaks. Sometimes you go into labor and they have to break it for you.
So what does going into labor mean?
Contractions.
Tell them about the mucus plug.
What, the mucus plug? Oh.
Yeah.
There's like a mucus plug that falls out like shortly before you're about to give birth. Like, so it can fall out like up to 2 weeks before.
Yeah, I've heard this. Like everybody, in the group chat, people text about the mucus plug sometimes, and I'm like, that's gross. I don't know what that means. But okay,
it was kind of gross, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is that all?
Yep, that's all we need. Thanks for the update.
I love how Nelson talked over her like the whole
course,
time.
Of course, because like he knows
immediately.
You bring someone in that's gone through it, and Nelson still finds a way to talk over him. Imagine that.
I was dying.
But yeah, so what I was gonna bring up was that like not all of them break. The waters break naturally, but like you time the contractions, and that's when like it's contractions are supposed to get to a certain point where they're like a minute apart for X a minute long. Like they last so long. They last so long.
Don't forget about dilation. That's the other part of it, right?
Which is how much they're contracting and big it's getting, the hole's getting.
It's just like the cervix, how wide it's getting. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm more or less confused after talking to Deepam, but
I couldn't even really hear what she said.
I agree. I think she's in labor when
John walks in. Like she's not sweating if she's not going through contractions. Like
what? Okay. She is sweating, right? Like they say that when John walks in. Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's just like super warm in the tent. But it sounds like they've got her positioned like to like be looking for the head to pop out at any minute. Like that's what I'm assuming that like Val is waiting for this like head to peek through.
Yeah, that's when she yells birth is coming, is when she sees like hair. Like the baby coming. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you think even in those times you would know, like, hey, when some of these earlier signs start happening, like that means like it's go time.
They know. That's why she's there.
They know. That's why she's here. Like they think they have enough time to go get the midwife who's actually going to just deliver, like pull it out and.
Well, they want Mance. Like if you're Mance and you knew, like if you were Mance, you wouldn't ride off the battle if Deepam's in labor, right? So to me, that makes me think that at least Mance didn't realize how far
he's
along
the fucking king. I think he had to.
Well,
no, I think he had to.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people are playing in like professional sports games while they're,
yeah,
partners.
Yeah,
okay. Not always, for sure, but some people have made the decision too.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
Yeah, no, I know.
Fair.
But like, if it's also life or death war time, it's like, well,
yeah, rider, yeah.
If he thinks he could be the difference in them living, he's riding out.
Yeah. What's he gonna do in the tent? Yes, he can actually do something out there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, all right. Lots of as John is like looking around, there's lots of weapons that he's thinking about being able to use, or they're just around too. Like maybe he could get fucked up with them.
Well, yeah, I think he was looking for something to use. I will say the one thing before that, he's like, "Damn, Val's hot, just as hot as I remember."
Yeah, she's a good looking gal.
He says it in a boring John way, but that's pretty much what he's thinking.
Yeah.
He's like,
yep.
Hot.
So a lot of weapons, and then like, oh wait, what's this huge thing?
Yeah.
The horn.
Oh shit.
Oh shit, it's a horn.
Big black horn.
Ha! Yes, we found it. The horn of winter. Jormund, is that his name?
Jormund. The horn of winter that Jormund once. This is weird. Here's my problem, and I think this
horn wakes giants, but it also makes the wall come down.
Exactly. I've had the problem with this horn forever, and I don't know if I've ever said it to Kyle before. I don't think it's a spoiler anymore because they say man says both like back to back. He says here Jormund once blew to wake giants from the earth, and then later he says that the singers
he talks about it bringing the whole wall down. Yeah.
Well, he says that the singers say will bring the wall down. Mance is a singer. He knows singers.
Yeah, singers are liars. They're embellishers.
Yeah.
Again, I have no idea. I don't know if there's theories about this, but like,
I bet that's. He probably knows that maybe it's bullshit, right? I mean, it seems pretty cool though. It's this giant 8-foot horn, like massive thing. Like it's not a joke.
First off, I'm not saying it's necessarily bullshit. I'm just saying it could be.
But you could make like a tuba. Like a tuba's not really breaking more glass than a trumpet type of thing. Like you could hear a trumpet probably further away than a tuba.
Well, I mean, the thing looks badass. 8 feet along the curve and so wide at the mouth that he could have put his arm inside up to the elbow.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big tuba looking thing.
If it came from an aurochs, it was the biggest he had ever lived. So like he doesn't even know what animal. John Lilly's like, what did this thing come from?
What did he? So what does that mean? Like, is it like the rib cage of the animal is like?
Yeah, it's a big one.
No, the horn. He's saying like a big bull. Like I think like a longhorn, like a Texas longhorn, or like a bull with the biggest horns you've ever seen. That's what an aurochs is.
I got.
And he's like, if this came from
it's like that was the base of the head is like the part where the noise is coming out of, like what, right? Because it's gonna spin and then you blow through the tip.
Yep, exactly. Where the horn would meet the head. Yeah, and I think that's what they normally make them out of.
Yeah, for sure.
And then just hollow it out. Yeah, I guess I wasn't thinking about that as I thought it was like covered in like aurochs skin, not yeah. So Mance is like, I could have beaten the wall. We mentioned this. I could have beaten the wall 7 different ways. Like I'm choosing.
It's just going to cost me blood. It's going to cost me people lives that I don't want to spend. Right?
Yeah,
it's fair.
They don't need to bleed anymore.
Yeah.
Do you want to rattle them off real quick? What the other strategies were? It was like,
well, he could go around Eastwatch. He could attack the Shadow Tower because he's from there, so he knows all the approaches, and he could just send all his mammoths and stuff to dig out all the old tunnels. Right? I think those were the main ones. Like you can't defend all the tunnels.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, he's like, we'll get through one.
And he knows that they have not nearly the numbers that they said, and they have no resources coming in, and they basically spent it all.
He said, I've seen what you guys got. It's impressive what you've done, but like you got no hope.
Yeah, you have nothing left. You barely have any people with your cripples, and you have no pitch and stuff.
I know, but didn't he say something about that, though? He's like, I stormed through everything else, and then you're the ones that actually held me off, I think. I thought somebody said that somewhere.
Oh, yeah, well, the interesting part, I think, about that is, he says, like, we lost so many. Like, too many of my people have died. And like we heard earlier, you lost 200 people out of thousands.
That's why I don't, that's why, again, I don't think it's... But he's also, like, metaphorically speaking, like, they've been bleeding for a while.
He says, not at your hand. He's like,
yeah,
who's killing us. He's insinuating that, like, they're getting fucked up by the others, like, way worse. The way I took this was, like, every night when the sun goes down, we're getting fucked up in the rear way worse than we're getting fucked up in the front here.
Yeah. And I still think it's metaphorically, like, these people have bled enough over time.
That might be true, too.
Because of this, that, like... It's time for them to be able to walk free past this wall, like open the goddamn doors.
Sure, but either way, do you think that it could be a bluff, like his ultimatum he gives to John? So I'm jumping ahead a little bit again, but again, he gives the ultimatum to John. You have to let us through, or we're gonna blow the horn in 3 days.
I think it could be a bluff. I think he knows that John is aware of. Well, I mean, obviously the Fist of the First Men happened, right? So they kind of.
Well, John wasn't there, right?
Well, no, he came through with Mance and saw the same thing Mance did. Like he was with Mance at the time. Mance was like, "Look at all these dead bodies. This was the others."
I mean, yeah, but he didn't see. I guess it
firsthand.
Yeah, not firsthand. But he has brothers that made it through. Like
he killed a white. Him and Gus killed a white.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying John is a non-believer. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So he knows that the threat could be real, and he
is real. Yeah, I think he's a believer.
But again, like if it is real. To the wall's point of view is that the wall was built for this reason. Like, fuck you. Like, we'll just let you die on that side. And like, I guess the point is like the army of the dead grows with everyone that they kill. Man says that, right? It's like they kill you and then you're fighting the people that they killed and it's not fun. But
I guess that, again, another thing that I don't understand is like Man said, I can beat you 10 different ways. I don't want to, cause I'll lose a few more men. If they really were, and then they say it here, right? So what's he getting into with Dala? They're basically like, we have this horn, we could blow it, but we don't want to because we're not here to conquer. We're here to, again, I might be jumping ahead a little bit.
Yeah, we finally get Mance's kind of motives, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, we're trying to use that wall. Like that's super important to us. We just want to live on the other side of it. Like this shit is scary up here.
Yeah. John's like, why haven't you blown it yet? And Dala, cool line, stolen from the Horn Lord. Sorcery is like a sword with no hilt. There's no safe way to use it, right? So
yep, I thought that was good too. I thought it was
who's the Horn Lord?
It's an old king of the north.
Yeah,
or king above the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I always do that too, Jeff. Like when I write in my notes, I always write like King of the North.
The real North, king of the real North.
Rob's the king of the North. Yeah, Rob Stark was the king of the North.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah. So I don't know. Like they just keep talking, right? The wall is going to stop the others. Mance is like, look, you're going to go back and you're going to tell them to let us through. and I'll leave the horn with them so the wall can stay up. Like, nothing's gonna threaten the wall. And John's like, all right, but like, all right, you're the king now, but like, once you're through the gate, like, are you gonna be able to continue to rule these people? And Mance like, fuck you and your rules. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, we just
we're not coming through to abide by the rules, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're doing the same thing, just there on the other side.
Yeah, the deal is we're gonna give you the horn. I don't know if you mentioned it. Basically, you let us through.
He said,
yeah, we'll give you the horn so you can't ever, but your wall will be safe forever. So we're not bending no knees. We're just trading the horn for passage, which is fair. But like, obviously, they're not going to accept like, oh yeah, just let all the people who are going to do whatever they want and not pay taxes into their kingdom.
Let me just throw one more thing out there. Like, if Westeros really didn't give a shit, could they have been like, all right, we'll let you through, but you're immediately going either west of Westeros or east to Essos? If they cared at all, which they don't, right? They're like, look, you're not getting through the wall. But like, they legitimately could, right? Like, if anyone from south of the wall was there to witness what the wall shape was in, and more so the people manning the wall, they're like, damn, like, all right, we could lose this, and they would be here anyway. They could have came up with a deal to be like, hey, you can come south, but then you got to go. Like, we'll have every night ready to like ship you somewhere.
Yeah.
Take him a quick trip across the narrow sea, or just send him west and then like kind of wash your hands with him. I don't know, but
I think Westeros would be 100% okay with that. I just think like we don't know what's west of Westeros, but anything in Essos, like I don't think Pentos would be very happy to just like accept a bunch of wildlings either. So like King's Landing's like, hey, we're gonna send you like 40 ships of just like savages. Refugees. Here you go. Like I think they'd be like, whoa, pump the brakes. So
yeah, I don't know. But if Aemon sent word, yo, we're gonna lose 100,000 wildlings are coming through a tunnel. What's your plan of action? Like, what would their plan of action be? Like, just go fight them? Like,
who are you talking about? Tywin?
Just anybody. Like, they're sending it off to anyone left who can listen.
Oh, if you're saying they just set the problem, like, not our problem. Like, if John was like, you know what, we're not here to fight you. We're here to fight like the others. You guys can come through. Not
Tywin
our
would probably be pumped.
What happens once you're through is somebody else's problem. Like, that would be pretty funny.
Tywin would like somehow swing it in his favor. I bet.
Yeah, he's like, we don't even care about the North. We'll worry about it when they get to the net.
This
pretty
is
much
even better.
what he said.
Yeah, no.
He said that already, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So they're talking, and then John's. This is where John's like, man, I should just destroy the horn, right?
Yeah.
Or they're gonna. Sorry, we're not kneeling. We're gonna blow this horn. Tormund's gonna blow it in 3 days if you guys don't let us through. So we're either breaking the wall or we're coming through because you're gonna open it for us.
Yeah. 2 days I want to circle back on real quick. Mance, and we kind of touched on it. Mance does have this, I think, pretty like humble thing where he's like, we have all these previous King Beyond the Walls, Ryan Redbeard, Bale the Bard, Grendel and Gorn, the Horn Lord. They came to conquer. I'm not here to conquer. I just want to hide behind your wall, and I don't want to have to use this horn because then that's like there's
nobody
point.
has the wall.
Yeah. So like, I think that's like kind of like a very humbling thing for the King Beyond the Wall to be saying to John, who's like a turncloak on him. And then the other cool thing about Mance is when John's like, so you can kill your enemies, but can you rule over your friends? Like, are you a true king? He's like, I've never had a crown on my head. I've never sat on a throne. I'm as lowborn as a man can get. I've never had a septon smear oils on me. I don't have any castles. My queen wears furs, not silks. I am my own champion, my own fool, and my own harpist. He's like, you don't become King Beyond the Wall because your father was. I just think that's like kind of like a cool, like, I earned this shit, bro. Like, I'm the opposite of all bark and no bite. I'm all bite and no bark. Like, look at me. But John's like, that's not really what I'm asking. Like, can you rule over your people? And Man's like, that's not what I'm offering. Kind of what we said. And then, to the ultimatum. You have 3 days.
Yep.
And John's like, fuck. If I go back, like, I think John's kind of interested.
Oh, yeah.
But he's like, if I go back, the people I'm going back to are just going to kill me. So
he said, yeah.
Well, they're like, you're definitely a turncloak. Like, you're back on their side now? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, you actually talked to them and they, like, listened to you? They didn't kill you right away? Like, that's suspicious. That's weird.
That's kind of true, too. Like, I even thought it was a little suspicious. But, again, Tormund and Mance don't care. Mance is like, I never trusted you. So it kind of explained it. But it was a little sus on paper.
Yeah. So John's like, let me destroy this horn real quick. Like, at least I can save the wall, and they'll figure it out from there. But in the distance, the war horns are being blown, and something's coming from the east. They hear out, and it's Men in Black. So was it Shadow Tower people or East Watch by the Sea people?
No. So Baratheons are black and yellow. Again, I don't know if Stannis has changed up this coloring. For some reason, I thought it was green and yellow for a long time. I think even in like our podcast logos, I'm green and yellow. But yeah, Baratheons are black and yellow. So they could be Men in Black because
black and yellow,
that's like the base color of their house, right? So I think that could also be part of it. But I think there probably are a few Black brothers mixed in. I would assume anyone on a horse is not from the Night's Watch. Night's Watch has like literally
with
7 horses.
The metal, the full plate. Yeah.
I think they have steel. I think so definitely don't have horses. What I meant. Yeah.
Well, you meant the watch has steel.
I think the watch has steel. Yeah, just not horses.
Yeah. All right. So there's Men in Black coming through, and at first he's like, "Damn, like Cotter Pike, that fool! Like I never thought he had it in him." But I guess after he killed somebody,
captured Rattleshirt.
He's like, "You fucker, Jon Snow." He's like, "You
bastard!
You were sent to distract me while this was going on. Yeah, like this is all part of your plan." He's like, "I swear I had no idea."
Yeah. Well, you're gonna stay here, and if I find out you knew about it, like then we're gonna torture your ass.
Yeah, and I think there probably are, I guess, Night's Watchmen because it looks like Mance sees some of them, right? Because he says these are definitely Cotter Pike's men. They're sailors on horses, is what he says. Like, it doesn't look like they know how to ride. To me, that means like it doesn't look like they know how to ride very well.
Yeah.
So it's like this is the sea castle on horses, but who knows? I don't know where he said that, but
so Varamir starts saying a sigil that he sees, right?
It's golden banners, I think, right?
It's a big golden banner at the end. I think he says...
Where are you at? Did Mance write off already?
He says banners, he heard Varamir murmur. I see golden banners, a mammoth lumbered by, trumpeting, a half-dozen bowmen in the wooden tower on its back. The king, no. Then the skin changer threw back his head and screamed. Yep. Yeah, there goes the eagle. Didn't last very long.
Yep.
They shoot his ass with
somebody targeted this ego? Yeah, with a flaming arrow.
Yeah, I'm going to finish that quote. The sound was shocking, ear-piercing. Thick with agony, Varamir fell, writhing. The cat was screaming too, and high in the eastern sky, against the wall of cloud, Jon saw the eagle burning. For heartbeat, it flamed brighter than a star. Wreathed in red and gold and orange, its wings beating wildly at the air as if it could fly from the pain. Higher it flew, and higher still. And then Val comes out. It's kind of interesting, too. Jon just completely ignores all this. Like, whatever that just was fucking crazy, and he just like doesn't mention it again.
It's like an exorcism.
Shadowcat's freaking out. The wolves are snapping and shit. Like it's like,
and then he just crawls off into the woods, and he's like, "Well, see ya."
It's like, what? It's like there's a pregnancy going on. John's like, "Oh, that's way more important."
That's so intense.
So, Val comes out. She's like, "Where's Mance? It's time." And John's like, "Well, he's on horse right now. Like he's armored up, ready to roll. You better get back inside. Not that it's going to be any safer in there, but get your ass inside." And I just have chaos then just going on throughout the wildling camp. I didn't even try to make sense of it, but people are running to the fight. People are running away from the fight. Mammoths are just knocking shit down. Yeah,
like people don't know where they're supposed to be going. You can tell. Like
Harma killed a fresh dog, put it on a spear, and started charging.
That's what she does.
Priorities.
Yep.
And Tormund and his sons are trying to form up. So like everyone's trying to fight and whatnot, but it's just chaos. And
the one interesting thing in here, trumpets were blowing all around, loud and brazen. I think that's a little hint. You got to be really paying attention. But North people.
Well, he even says, I know the wildlings don't have trumpets.
Well, neither do the Northmen. It's kind of like a southerner thing.
Okay.
Even like Winterfell, I doubt has. I mean, they might have some in a closet, but I bet you they're blowing war horns. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
it's a frou thing. You're not using metal where it's cold out. But yeah, chaos.
Yep. So Jon thinks if it could be Robb that's come to save him, or did the king, the boy king, right? Joffrey. Is Joffrey up here to save the wall?
Yeah.
And he watched the fight. People continue to run. Harma ends up dying. Tormund's lines are broke. Varamir crawled away, and Mance was overtaken in the middle of the knights just kind of riding through him, and he's now underneath the pile.
Yeah, he sounds pretty dead.
you mentioned it like a few times, but like they're just not, and we knew this, they're just not disciplined. Like Mance calls for an arrow at one point, and he's like, the formation broke immediately. Torment can't hold it, like they can't hold a line. Like it just seems like they have the numbers and just no discipline. There's a cool quote. I actually didn't write it, but like when John has like it's like a one sentence thing of like, oh, that's how they say the wildlings fought. It was like it's like a loud scream, a brave slash, and a death. Like they suck, they all die, but they go out screaming bravely.
Yeah, somebody swings. Yeah, exactly. Everybody on them, they connect. Yeah,
a lot of heart behind it, but not a lot of outcome.
Yeah. All right. So then
they break.
Chant. We start. Yeah, they broke, and we start hearing the chant, which is Kyle's spoiler.
Yeah, Stannis.
Stannis the man. And this is the part that Jeff might have been thinking of. This is where we get the banners. A yellow one with a long pointed tongues that showed a flaming heart, and another like a sheet of beaten gold with a black stag prancing, rippling in the wind. I thought that was backwards. I thought it was gold on black, not black on gold. But
Robert John thought for one moment.
I'm just saying. I was just assuming like once they go king, like once you're the king, everything's gold.
More gold than black. It makes sense.
Because like even when they just saw the gold banner, they assumed king, right? Faramir said the king.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't even know who the king is, but that makes sense. Yeah, all gold, everything. That's a song, I think, a rap song.
I don't think so. all black, everything. Black cars, black.
That's definitely a song. Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Well, that's a whole different.
That's Stannis' song. All right, we're going way too long for this chapter.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's get out of here. Kyle, anything?
Kyle, thoughts? What do you think? Stannis is here.
Stannis is here, man. Yeah, I guess Davos is alive then, right? That's kind of the insinuation there, because he's the one that talked him into this, right?
He read him the letter from the north.
Yeah, we didn't want to remind you last chapter because we knew this was coming up, but like, yeah, when we were talking about Stannis, kind of what you had seemed to remember was Davos sent Edric away, and then Stannis called Davos up to the room, but you didn't mention the fact that Davos was like, wait, I have this letter from the north.
Yeah, I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it had been a little bit, yeah.
We could have given it to you because it wasn't as a spoiler, but we're like, we'll let him.
No, that's fine. Yeah. No, it made it more fun. That made this more fun for sure. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be Stannis per se until I realized, like, once I found out it was beyond the Night's Watch, I guess. Yeah. That was kind of where it went. Stannis, because like who else would be up here?
I know nobody else gave a shit. Yeah.
Predictions. What we got? What's next?
I mean, I don't know. John's got in this baby, right? Like I feel like some kind of play has to happen there. I can't see John stealing a baby though. Does not seem very John.
Pulling an Alan from The Hangover, just taking the baby,
like Sam.
Yeah, taking Mance's baby and then like going.
Give me that baby,
and like being like Janos and Alice are here. Here's your.
Now you got to raise this baby. Ha.
No, here's your token, right? Like it's like, I don't know. Maybe he's got to do something with this war horn too. Is what he thinks, right? He's got to smash it. But
yeah, he is going back in the tent.
I don't know how you break it, right?
That's where it ends. Yeah. John turned away and went inside the tent.
Yeah, and what's in the tent? A baby, a lady he's kind of lusting after. Yeah. And a horn, war horn. So he's got to do something in there.
Baby, a horn, and two good-looking gals.
Yeah. It's going to be either take the baby. I can't see him killing the baby by any means.
Does this give vibe? I never thought about it till just now. Does this give vibes to that chapter when Dany's in the tent?
I didn't think about it, but
doesn't like Jorah carry her in the tent at the very end of the chapter? I didn't think about it till just now, but now that I feel like that
John's not carrying any.
I just mean that might be like the last line of the chapter of that day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And Jorah took her inside the tent.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So, all right,
cool.
Baby time.
Yeah, I mean that's all I got.
Well, we'll see Kyle in the next one for Arya
13.
Yep, Arya 13. Good call.
Cool.
Big dog is on it.
So we'll see Kyle in the next one for Arya 13. See the rest of you guys in the spoiler section. Bye, Kyle.
Later, nerds.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
Bye, Kyle.
Bye, Kyle.
See you on the next one for Arya 13. Now, on to the spoiler section. Arya 13, by the way, real quick before we get into it.
Banger.
It's one of the things that the show does better, where the show has that, if another word comes pouring out of your cunt mouth, I'm going to have to eat every fucking chicken in this room, quote by the Hound. He does fuck everybody up, but...
Is it Polliver, too? Is it Polliver? Tickler?
It's the Tickler, for sure. I think there's one more. It's either Dunson or Polliver. I forget which one it is. I think you're right, in the show it's Polliver. I forget which one it is in the books, though. But yeah, that happens. Then I think she leaves him for dead, and I think she gets the last Arya chapter. I think she also buys a boat to Bravos. The ship.
Yeah, it's that's a banger.
Yeah.
So Kyle's kind of on to something here with his prediction.
What was his prediction? I don't even remember.
He doesn't really know, but he's on to the baby, which I definitely wouldn't have been. Like, I'd have been like, all right, there's a fucking baby. You know, like, obviously the baby has a big role in the games to come with the wall. Not really. Like, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? This is something that I could see them, like Dan and Dan would have forgotten about. Like, oh, we switched to babies. Like, oh, fuck it. Like, the others are through.
Did they forget? They did forget. There was no baby.
There was no other baby.
Yeah, exactly. So
it was just Sam. It was just little Sam.
Yeah, they kind of did forget. So, interesting. Again, very interesting because, right, it's, and I love how they kind of set it all up in this chapter. Mance says, you don't become king because your father was. Literally a quote from Mance's mouth in this chapter. The reason Mance's baby is important is because Stannis just showed up. Stannis has Melisandre. Melisandre loves King's blood.
Looking for King's blood.
Exactly. So, like, that's why Mance's baby is important, is because in Stannis' mind, first off, it's not just Melisandre. Stannis has this, like, line of succession. That's how things work. The law is the law. That's what we follow. Mance was king to these people. Therefore, Mance's son must be king. Like, Stannis just doesn't understand.
Do you think does he believe that with them, though?
I think Jon has said, like, that's not how it works. And Stannis is still like, I don't know, that's how it works.
Yeah.
I think Stannis' thought is kind of like, I don't care what the wildlings believe. I'm in charge. The wildlings are under me now. And this is, yeah, exactly. So, like, this is how it is. So, like,
yeah, that's interesting. I don't remember that. I don't remember those conversations. But if Stannis is like that, that's like I could have seen him doing the other thing too. Like, well, like I don't give a fuck about these wildlings. Like, let them do whatever they want to do.
He doesn't care as much in terms of the baby, I don't think. But he like kind of refuses.
He takes these on. These wildlings become his army, right?
I don't think they agree to fight with Stannis.
Okay,
but they do get let through. I'm sure they're given some part of the gift. I forget exactly what the deal is. I know they have to, as they pass through, Melisandre makes them give up their gods. So I guess they are pledging to Stannis in some aspect, but Mance doesn't, right? That's why they burn him.
Like, what does Stannis gain from doing any of this if they don't fight? He needs an army. He needs them.
Well, he believes in the others, right? I think that's the main reason, right? Like Mance said, I'm here to hide.
But if you believe in the others, then you believe in the wall. So, like, okay, he didn't know that they had a horn that could possibly have blown it down. Like, if you think the wall is enough, then you think you're safe from the others, is basically what I'm saying.
You're saying it's weird that Stannis shows up to save the Night's Watch by killing the wildlings, but ends up letting the wildlings through.
Yeah, what is he getting out of this? The loyalty of the Night's Watch, which is, like, worth nothing?
Well, I think Mel is telling him, like, first off, I think part of it's Melisandre saying, like, the war against the Great Other, or whatever. The other part is the quote that Stannis says to Davos or Jon or whoever it is, where he's like, I was trying to win the kingdom to save the realm when I should have saved the realm to win the kingdom. So he honestly, in some way, thinks he is saving the realm, whatever that means, from wildlings, from others. I think he probably believes in others more than most because he is so in on Mel's prophecies. He's seen visions himself in the flames, right? So, like, he believes this shit. Mel's saying there's a great other. I think he probably buys what she's saying. I think that's probably how you get to him letting wildlings through, is like, they're not the real enemy. Melisandre told me so. I believe that.
Yeah.
As long as they swear to our God.
Yeah. I guess I'm like, his numbers were dying. Like, it sounds like he has a solid number of men here to win this battle, right? And they're still on horse and whatnot.
Yeah, it might be a thing where, like, Mance won't kneel to him, so, like, he can't say, like, he technically owns all of the wildlings through their previous leader. But it might be a thing where it's like, hey, wildlings, I'm going to start giving away castles and lands. If you want to be welcomed in legally, now's your chance. I'm sure some probably take it, some don't. I'm guessing that's probably how it goes.
I mean, even if he just, like, even if he had a side table, it's like, hey, who wants to join me? As you walk through, like, you can volunteer to just
Exactly. I'm giving away castles and hold fast throughout the gift or whatever, right? Who wants to join? Yeah. You get some people.
I mean, the other thing is, like, Kyle kind of, I think, believes Mance is dead right now because he got kind of trampled under the pile. He said it really quickly. He was like, yeah, he sounds like he's done, I think, something like that. Like,
okay.
We didn't bring it up. I didn't, but obviously Mance isn't dead.
Yeah.
Like, they take a lot of prisoners.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to get the whole Rattleshirt Mance switcheroo, which is pretty cool. Also, the horn thing, again, it's one of those things like there's not a lot of magic that happens, right? So anytime something magical like this gets introduced, and I feel like maybe I gave too much away to Kyle by saying like it could be bullshit. Like Mance says it wakes Giles from its graves, but then he says the singers say it brings down walls. By like kind of insinuating the singers say about the wall, it says that that's the fake answer.
But we don't know again. I'm gonna say that pre-dragons, it easily could be bullshit. Like now that there's dragons, like I think anything magical has changed, right?
Yeah, true.
So the horn might have just been really loud 2 years ago, and now that there's dragons running around, like this shit's elevated.
Does come down walls or wakes giants. Yeah. The other interesting horns. Next book, Feast, we have Euron show up with his horn, right? He calls it Dragon Binder. So this horn, we don't know if it's magical at all, right? Claimed to be magical, no proof. Euron's horn, not so much. Someone blows it, nothing really happens. It's impressive. I think the runes on the outside of it glow when it's blown, and then the guy dies who blows it, and his like lungs are burned black or something like that.
Poison on the intake.
Again, with my speculation glasses on, like could Euron have taken a guy who had like lung cancer and asked him to blow this horn, knowing it would look weird? That's a little far fetched, though, right? Like,
yeah, I don't even remember the chapter.
It's more likely that's actually just magical. So, and that's the horn he has sent Victarion over to meet Dany with to capture her dragons, right? So, interesting. Also, Euron says his horn, I think, is from the horn of a dragon, not the horn of your Aurochs or whatever. So I think that was kind of interesting too. And John's like, if this did come from an Aurochs, it was the biggest one I've ever seen. To me, that says it probably didn't. It might actually
came from a dragon.
Yeah, kind of
cool. Be cool.
This might be like and animals with horns normally have two. I think it's cool to imagine this is like the twin to Euron's. Who knows? Because I think we also know that there's like there's another horn. Not the Celtigars have a horn.
Doesn't Sam come up with a horn too?
Sam has a little horn, a little beat up horn. I think that's the real horn of winter. I think that's what most fans think is Sam's beat up horn that for some reason he still has with him in Old Town.
Was that the one that was buried at the fist? Was one buried at the fist?
Exactly, it's that one. Yep. So the only real point I had to talk about was the little quote that Jon says to Mance. He's like, "You can kill your enemies, but can you rule your friends?" This feels foreshadowy to Jon because the end of Jon's story this book is he
can't rule his friends.
He becomes Lord Commander and ends up getting killed while trying to rule his friends. Again, I think you could argue he does a pretty good job of ruling his friends. I would argue, and I know you've heard me say this before,
he can't rule his enemies.
Well, no, just that as soon as he becomes ruler of his friends, I hate him. Like he's just so boring. Like Pip and them would just want to have a beer by the fire. He's like, I can't. No, like, I'm gonna go have it by myself in my room with Ghost. Like, dude, have a beer with your boys. I don't care if you're in charge. Like you can be friends still.
But that's not true.
I don't know if I believe. We'll see. I'm sure Jon will have some quotes maybe to try and convince me otherwise. But that's when Jon starts pissing me off. Is like when he kind of starts refusing to be friends with his friends.
Like let me say this to you now. You've hung out with some of our coaches post playing.
Sure.
If you're
saying they level with me more
when you're in a position of authority and you level too much to be equal, you lose your authority to those people.
100% understood. But there's a middle ground.
But yeah, like he could have a meal with them for sure. But
I see what you're saying. But there's a middle ground.
I gotta read all this again. So like he can't be like gambling with them, right? Like that's a bad look. Like if they're playing like cards for money and he's like winning the money from his men, that's a bad look.
I feel like he really. It's not that. It's not just that. It's like they're like, hey, let's play. Like I don't know. He's just real. I feel like he really gives him the cold shoulder.
I'll have to give you the as we read it, we'll have to talk about
we
it.
know our takes, but yeah. So I thought that line that he hit Mance with, again, maybe not, because I think if you, in all honesty, I think he does do probably a pretty good job of actually ruling as Lord Commander. But that one struck to me because that's kind of when I start hating Jon, is when he has to rule over his friends and he has to like kind of change how he is.
Yeah, John's always been kind of lame though. Like I don't like
He's white bread. He's Superman.
John's not a cool character. Like when you think of the cool characters of reading the POV, like Jaime is a better character than Jon.
100%. He's white. Jaime's not white bread. Jaime's fucking raisins, coconut, cinnamon swirl bread. There's so much fucking going on in there. Jon is just, I'm good. I always want to be good. I'm doing the right thing because it's right. Jon is just in interesting situations. That's why Jon chapters are interesting.
Yeah.
Not because Jon's interesting.
But like then you get Tyrion, who's interesting and in interesting situations. Yeah. But then you get Sansa, who I think we've come to the conclusion that she's in like some of the most interesting situations, but she is just like dried stale bread.
Again, I'm starting to kindly like Sansa more just because, like we said last chapter, I'm Sansa. And I think I'm like realizing that like George is, I think, on purpose. Like I'm the guy who likes the heroes. I want the hero to win. I don't want the bad guy. Like there's no, everyone's all one-sided.
She's not even that she's not even like that. I don't know. She's stale to me.
But I think part of the reason of her chapters, and I'm not the only person that thought this. I see this online too. Like people are like, Sansa is how we are. Like, we think this is all going to be great. Like, oh, this is a storybook. Like King Arthur slays the dragon. But no, like this is not how that goes. So I kind of see that a little bit too. It's like you see the innocence that we have as readers. Like, oh, I want Dunk to win the tournament and be great. But that's not how it goes. We end up in the mud, right? So again, Sansa's not my favorite. But I can kind of see some of the... I think what George is trying to do with it.
But she's had some really cool chapters, but
sure.
She's not a cool character, is what the point was.
And I think that's what George, I think that's one of the things that makes George a great writer, right? Everyone has their characters that they're always going to love all their chapters, no matter what they're doing. But then even the characters that you don't love, and this, I found this less true on a first read through. Maybe it's on a second read through, I find everything interesting. But on a first read through, I definitely thought Cat chapters were more of a slog. And I think Sansa, a lot of the Sansa ones were up there too.
Yeah, I just don't like Cat at all as a you know what I don't like either? I go back and see clips of the show, and the betrayal of Kat, I think it's pretty spot on, but like just makes me dislike her even more. I saw it was a clip of Renly and Stannis when they meet up to like basically talk shit about each other before they were gonna fight, and she's like, "If I was your mother, I would knock your two heads in." Like, shut up, Kat. Like.
It's crazy because I think like
that's all I have to say.
I think people really like that though. Like I think like people who are Cat fans really like that moment because it's like again. I don't know. Maybe it'd be interesting like if your wife Danny read it because like I feel like that's kind of like a mom thing. Like shut up. Like you're bickering. Like this is a war.
Yeah.
People's lives are at stake, and you're playing with a peach, and you're fucking no, I'm right, like on your high horse. Like just talk as brothers, and we'll be past this. Like she sees it as like a personal problem. They see it as a political problem.
I would lock you two in your rooms for a week. Like,
and like it would make sense if she did. But if she did,
nothing would have solved. They would have killed each other. What are you talking about?
I see what you're saying. That's something that like my mom would say to me and my brother, and I would be like, "Shut the fuck up, mom. Like I'm not a kid anymore." But. Yeah. She's right. If you put like, you know what, you will work it out eventually.
Is the point is she wrong? No. Is it annoying as fuck the way she just comes with this authority? I don't even know why we're talking about Cat right now.
I don't know.
She just comes with this authority of like I'm like I don't know. I just don't like Cat at all.
I don't know. I think that's maybe, and you can disagree because I've met your mom a lot of times and she's only ever been a lovely person, so I can't see this. But as a son, there's definitely times where my mom has just like got under my skin. I'm like, Mom, stop. And Kat kind of reminds me of that sometimes, which I think is why I don't like Kat. Like just like sometimes my mom is like, but the best job I ever had in my life is being a mom. My mom was like, she's one of those type of people sometimes. I'm like, Mom, stop it. That makes me like, that puts me too much in the picture. Like you're centering your life around me. Like, what if I fucked it up? Like, just do your own thing. Like, don't. And I feel like that's kind of Kat. Kat's whole thing is, I'm a mom. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's why she pisses me off.
I'll even throw it back. The thing I hate about Kat the most was that like she was just the biggest what's the word I'm looking for?
Hypocrite.
Like she was a huge hypocrite. But that's not the word I was looking for. Like do one thing.
That's hypocrite.
Like you Yeah, but it's not the word. I'm thinking of like a C word, like
Contradicting.
yeah, contradicting. Like she'd be like, Rob, you can't do that. Like that would, but then she would go do it. It's like
Do as I say, not as I do type person.
yeah, like you can't let these people go. Like you need bargaining chips.
Yeah.
Oh wait. Oh, we have Jamie. Let me send him away real quick. Like I can't deal with you.
Hot take about Kat, she gets better after she dies. When all she wants to do is start hanging phrase. That's all she cares about now.
Yeah.
Hot take, joke. We're ending the podcast. See you guys in the next one for RA13. Thanks for listening. Tune into the House of the Dragon podcast. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. See you in the next one.
Bye.